So recently, I read this vomit-inducing article that made me think, is the 9 to 5 dead? And I think it might be. Let me explain. Do you guys all remember like a year or two ago where there was all these articles coming out about how Iceland had tested a 4-day work week and it was like amazing. People were more productive, happier. Yeah, well, we don't live in Iceland. We live in America. So we get articles like this article. So this article is basically talking about the 9 to 5 workday being replaced with the infinity workday. Now to summarize it for you, basically the premise is you are always available to your employer, right? You don't ever really turn off, but instead you are just like perpetually available for them. You don't just work 9 to 5, but instead the expectation is you are available, you are sending and receiving emails and doing work outside of working hours in addition to your working hours. And that moving forward, that will be the norm instead of the traditional 9 to 5 workday. Now the data that they're talking about here is from the Microsoft Trend Index. And basically yearly, they're looking at different trends as far as employers and employees in America go. And they draw conclusions from this data. And the data that can be drawn from this is the infinity workday. Like that's where this all comes from. You look at the data and you go, oh, okay, this basically never ends. Okay, so I won't bury the lead anymore. Let me give you the data and the stats that I'm talking about. So on average, people in America, well, they receive 50 emails a week on average outside of working hours. Additionally, 40% of people are answering emails at 6 a.m. in the morning. And additionally, another 30% are answering emails after 10 a.m. at night. Okay, so why is this happening, right? Well, a few things. If you look back 5 years ago at the start of the pandemic, there was this huge push where everybody was working remote. And for a lot of people, it was amazing. They had flexibility. They didn't have to worry about commutes into the office and home at night. And one of the things they did with this time is they would answer emails. They would log on and they would answer emails early. And they didn't mind answering emails late. This was all okay for those people because what they received in return was a tremendous amount of flexibility. They were able to be home. It allowed them to do different things, eat lunch at home, see their family more. The flexibility was something they were willing to take and then trade away some of that, hey, it's 9 to 5 and I'm done, right? Basically, because people were afforded more freedom, they were willing to answer emails outside of working hours just because of the way things were. That's how it was. Well, fast forward a few years, the job market spiked and now it has come down to earth, and the expectation that you answer those emails remains. However, in most of America and in a lot of countries worldwide, we have seen the return to office push, where companies are bringing people back into the office. So they no longer have that flexibility, but the expectation remains that they're answering emails early and late. Now, here's the reality of this. The only way that happens is if you as an employee let it happen. What do I mean by that? Well, if you're saying, okay, I have the expectation of answering emails at night, answering in the morning, and I'm going to tolerate this and I'm not going to leave and look for a new job, then your employer is going to do that, right? And that's what brings us to today. Today is an employer's market. So unemployment has shot from 4.1 to 4.4%. In March 2022, there was 12 million open jobs. Today, there are 7 million open jobs. This is all in America. And basically what I'm saying is the market is much more competitive. There are much more people out of work. There are much less jobs. And because of that, it's an employer market. People are willing to tolerate these behaviors more frequently. When there are a lot of jobs out there, like 12 million in March of 2022, and your employer is expecting you to answer emails late and early, people leave those jobs. And the feedback loop there is companies go, hey, we can't afford to lose these people. We need to give them more work-life balance. But in an employer-driven market, companies don't feel the need to do that. They know that you won't leave. They know you need this job, and they know that you will tolerate this type of thing. So is 9 to 5 dead? Right now, yes. In an employer-driven market where we have return to office and we don't have remote work, yeah, I think 9 to 5 is dead. A lot of companies are expecting you to answer emails late, answer them in the morning, answer them over the weekend. And until things switch back, until the pendulum swings back to a candidate-driven market, there's nothing to really curb these behaviors. This is one of the reasons why it's really important to be picky before you choose the next job, because where you end up going next is going to make your experience better or worse. And so I made this video here. These are non-negotiables that I look at when I'm going to start a new job. I suggest you watch this video because it's helpful to understand what am I willing to tolerate and what am I not. I'll see you over there.